there, and welcome to the Cargo Bay, a Star Wars conversation podcast being broadcast to you from a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. I'm Brady C, here with my co-host as always,
Adam B. How you doing, BC?
I'm doing good. I appreciate you bringing those tissues in. I am, spoiler alert, mourning the death of Ned B today. Very sad indeed.
Yeah, it's sad to see him go. Sad to see. I've forgotten our character's name already. You know, the one who's actually important to the plot, and then and the character development of Obi-Wan.
Which one? Tala.
Tala. There we go.
Yeah, Tala.
This reinforces, though, my speculation that she will be in Andor.
Oh, yeah.
I guess I could find that out on IMDb. I forget that's how things work now.
The internet hasn't. That kind of thing. I think she's fantastic. I would love to see more of her.
Yeah, I'm. When I rewatch the episode later with my fiance, I think there's gonna be some. She's been expecting that and mad about it. She's like, they're gonna kill her off, aren't they?
Maybe. I'm good. Besides mourning the death of Ned B, I'm glad to be back from Scarif. I was able to escape the clutches of the Empire there. Enjoy the rest of my beach vacation. Now recording back in the familiar Cargo Bay studio here, which is nice, as opposed to being in a closet behind a blanket.
You know, it's occurred to me, BC, it looks like on these recordings, if you're watching us on YouTube, it looks like we're in two different spaces. You know, like our walls are a little bit different on either side of the cargo bay, but that's not what's happening. We're here sitting in the same cargo bay as
we're
usual.
We're very territorial, so we're like siblings who are young, and we drew a line down the cargo bay. So I've got my side and you've got your side, so that we've got our own sort of flair here, but yeah, we're in the same spot, everybody. Don't worry.
Well, I'm glad you're back from Scarif, BC.
It's good to be back
safely. I'm pretty excited to talk about this episode, BC. This is a busy one, the penultimate episode of Obi-Wan.
Yeah, very busy indeed. I got up early as I do to watch this. So the first one is always just to watch to enjoy, not doing my homework, not taking notes. But even as I was watching the first time, I was like, oh man, I got a lot of notes to take on this one. There's a lot going on here. And it was confirmed when I rewatched it. There were a lot of stuff to write down about this episode. So yeah, we've got a lot to cover on this particular
Do we want to put a
episode.
little disclaimer up top, BC, that we're going to be talking about some content that may be particularly sensitive, and we may not be equipped to deal with given the current national situation, the ongoing horrors of living in the modern USA.
Yeah, we'll definitely give that spoiler warning, that content warning, I suppose. Again, general spoiler warning. If you haven't watched this episode, we're going to spoil the crap out of it. We already told you about Ned B's death, so if you're still with us, we appreciate it. And you didn't know about it. If you didn't know about it,
we're joking.
Sorry. Yeah, no, he's totally alive. Go watch the episode. It'll be confirmed. And to piggyback, yes, there was the content warning at the top of this episode, that there will be some sensitive material in here, which when we got to it, it was indeed, I would say, very sensitive material, so I appreciated that warning up top. I was telling you before we started recording that they've added that warning to the beginning of part 1 as well, I think because it's got some Order 66 and general themes of massacres of children in school, which is, again, something that we maybe not the best equipped to talk about, but something that we will have to deal with as it is part of this episode. So with that noted, why don't we jump into the top of part 5 of Obi-Wan Kenobi? And I mean, talk about a start to an episode.
Yeah.
We've all wanted it. We've all been clamoring for it. Episode 2 era, Obi-Wan and Anakin having a little master and Padawan fight. What were your first thoughts of seeing those haircuts come back?
Oh man, what a great opening shot. Get that Anakin haircut. I was just excited, BC. I was like, yes, they're giving it to us. I thought that they wouldn't, which, you know, there's a lot of worlds in which that would be better for the storytelling, as just to not give us exactly what we want. But at this point, I don't have exactly what I want, so I'll take whatever candy like is been being thrown at me. And I was pleasantly surprised. Anakin does not look like Episode 2 Anakin. He looks like a grown man who has put on musculature to fit a Darth Vader suit. But they don't do a ton of de-aging on either of them. And you know what? I don't care. I don't need a bunch of like digital like BS going on their faces. Like, I was just really excited.
I'm so glad to hear that you didn't care, because I also did not care.
Yeah.
This is not a thing that I care about. Just general note for Star Wars, post-production. You can have people look like people instead of computer people.
Yeah, and you can recast people as if you need to.
It's fine. It's fine. You recast Mon Mothma, and I thought it was the same lady. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It's not a big deal. So yes, this was, I thought, a nice, right out of the gate for the fans. Everyone's been talking about, are we going to get the flashback? Are we going to see Hayden? Yes, it's there, and I actually really like the device that the flashback serves in this episode.
Yeah.
Of portraying how well Obi-Wan knows Anakin, right? How the depths to which he knows what drives Anakin, how he's going to operate, the way that this is mirrored through the fight that we're flashing back to the current episode. So I thought it was a really nice touch.
Yeah.
Really liked having that jump off. It is still funny to me seeing Obi-Wan look like this, just because I think it is his worst look.
Yeah.
Out of the prequel trilogy, even worse than I would say Episode 1, which is Rat Tail Obi-Wan. It was just fun to see it.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I was happy it happened, and that it specifically served a purpose to the story, the narrative.
Yeah.
It wasn't
immediately
just,
I was
"Here's
like,
this."
we're gonna keep cutting back to this. This is great. And it gave me something to look forward to throughout the course of the episode. You know, every time they cut back into it, I was just like, yeah,
yay, lightsabers. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I thought Hayden did a good job, you know, playing a 20-year younger version of himself, or whatever it is, however long it's been.
Like, let's just take a moment to celebrate the Hayden Christensen Reclamation Project of him being an integral part of Star Wars, whether we like him or his performance or not. Like, I don't think he's to blame for a lot of what went wrong with Anakin in the prequels. He was also a very young actor, so I'm not, again, let's not hold too much against him from those prequel trilogies. It's great to see him in Star Wars being embraced. I mean, you were at Celebration, which was basically like Clone Wars 20th anniversary.
Yeah.
Let's embrace Hayden Christensen again, which I thought was fantastic.
Yeah, it was Hayden Fest, and I was there for it, and I'm glad
you got to see him.
I see. He came out next to Ian McDiarmid, who was signing, and came out and said hi to him.
Very cool.
But yeah, it was great, and it's good to see him get to do some Anakin lines, and I knew they weren't gonna bring him around on a press tour just for being in the suit, right? Like,
right, yeah.
give the guys some stuff. But before we move on from this, BC, do you think we're gonna get flashbacks in the next episode too? My question.
I kind of feel like I don't get the sense that we are. This felt very much like it was contained to the story of this episode,
and I think that's the way to do it.
I do too. I because now I guess we'll get into where we're going to go with the next episode. But it seems like this, as the penultimate, serves as a very good like one-off episode where this device frames kind of everything that's going on in the narrative thrust of this particular episode, which sets us up for what's going to happen in the last one. So I think it would kind of diminish what we have in this episode and potentially the next one if we go back to it. I thought it was a great one-off. Let's do it. We'll have this kind of wonderful analogy between the past and the present with this story. I say leave it be, and then we'll just go straight into the climax of Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I want more, but I think it would be silly to ask for more instead of just being like, that was good. move on. Like that was good. Leave it alone. Like when things are good, just keep moving. That's what I think.
I mean, at this point, after watching, it'd be like, I will give anyone $100 million to do some live action Clone Wars stuff with these two, but
yeah.
but I don't think that's going to happen. We already have the Clone Wars animated series, so again, Disney's not really taking heed of my advice. So
yeah,
it seems like this was probably a one-off, but any of it would be welcome. But I do just kind of like that it serves as the framework of this episode.
Yeah. Good stuff.
And we're going to come back to it as we go through our rundown. So, and it just gets better. Like, this is just the jumping off point between the two of them. So yeah, we will go back and get even more of these nice moments that I think progress and will help tell the story. So after we've got our initial introduction into this flashback framework that we're going to have to the episode, we're going to cut to Darth Vader himself. So going from Anakin to Vader, where we've got Reva arriving on board of his ship. And what a great honor it is to be invited aboard. It's almost like she wanted to be there, like she was working her way there somehow. Vader tells her to kneel and rise as the Grand Inquisitor. It's a very informal ceremony, but nice. She gets her little pin. Grand Inquisitor. Good job. Well done. Mission accomplished. We will see. And
I love just a quick. I love the bridge of this Star Destroyer. I love that we can tell it is it's just a regular Imperial Star Destroyer, And something I want to note, just for like almost to cover some of the stuff that happens in this episode, Vader is kind of like covert, right? Like he's not a super known entity. He's running around with just one Star Destroyer, and his stormtroopers are plain clothes. He doesn't have like fancy armor on his stormtroopers that stand out. He is trying to do things on the sly and often hide his hand from the Emperor. So that's just something to keep in mind as this unfolds. There's a reason they don't just show up with the entire fleet, is what I mean. Right?
Yeah, I don't know. And this would be something where we could get our comic expert, Levi, of the Well-Adjusted podcast.
Oh yes, indeed.
Shout out you, Levi, to maybe go into some more of the kind of Vader lore during this period, because I'm not as familiar with the comic book stuff here.
Nor am I.
But speaking to him being covert and not as like, hey, guess what? There's another Sith Lord who's running around and just wrecking stuff. Yeah, he is a more covert agent, even though he's gigantic and stands out in a crowd because he's glowing.
Yeah.
but yes, it's
I'd love to get Levi in here to illuminate some of that for us.
Yes, as our Darth Vader expert. So we're gonna go to the fact that we are tracking Obi-Wan and Leia via evil Lola, red-eyed Lola, and we are going back to Jabeam. And so the rebel sort of transport arrives in Jabeam. Haja is there. Good to see Kumail.
Didn't have anywhere else to go.
Nowhere else to be. Plus, could be good business. And so we've got this kind of ragtag group of castaways, a rebel cell, people who are being
sensitive.
Hunted. People being hunted by the Empire. Generally, kind of, and Obi-Wan agrees to help the good people of Jabeam as they are trying to transport these people out. But there's a kink in this plan, because evil Lola is going to head out from the group and shut the gates of the facility so that the transport cannot escape. I have a question. When did she go from being a tracker to being like, I've got a tracker in me, to like, I can also do covert missions and do evil stuff very specifically?
It's so she later it's referred to as a restraining bolt that has altered Lola, and it's like, I guess you can just reprogram a droid totally with a restraining bolt to do whatever you want. It's a problem I had with Lola since the beginning is, like, I get it, Leia's a princess, she gets the best toys in the world, but this droid is highly capable.
Clearly,
and
like Imperial sabotage,
more effective than Darth Vader and his squad have been on multiple occasions at this point. So
They're like, let's
Make
just get a
Lola
fleet of
the Grand
Lola.
Inquisitor.
Yeah. Let's just get a fleet of Lolas out there, put some restraining bolts on her, and she can take everybody down.
Yeah.
Yeah, it again, this is, how much do we want to put Star Wars tech to reason? This was just one of those things where it's like, I guess she's a tracker and a saboteur at this point. So
I don't want to
whatever.
pick this nit just because I like the idea of like, get Leia out of here for an episode. And which is what happens with the Lola subplot. It's just go away for a while.
Stick her in a shaft.
Yeah.
So we've got Lola doing a little sabotage for the Empire. Obi-Wan's going to encounter a bunch of lightsabers and a Jedi robe.
Not
it appears.
Chekhov's lightsabers.
No,
I was
indeed.
I was
like, are we going to have like 15 people wielding lightsabers? Because they've got weapons.
Yeah, and they're force sensitive. I thought we were going to get a standoff, with some poorly trained Jedi.
Turns out no, because Obi-Wan knows that Vader is going to attack. He doesn't have patience for a siege. We're going to flash back to our episode 2 era fight. Again, kind of paralleling where we are currently, that Anakin's on the attack. He's aggressive. He's a warrior. Which it just goes to show, we're going to reinforce this theme throughout the episode. Obi-Wan knows Anakin really well. So he knows that he's going to attack. He knows he doesn't have patience for a siege. And right after that, Vader launches an attack, as predicted. And we're going to get Obi-Wan kind of coming up with, I guess we go into kind of like the mission planning phase of this episode, where he tells these, I keep wanting to call them rebels. Proto-rebels.
I think we can just call them rebels for now.
Yeah. They're not quite fighting
Pathers.
Soldier rebels. Yeah, they're
Pathlings.
Members of the Pathlings, I think, is going to be the winner. Obi-Wan tells the Pathlings that they don't need to fight; they just need to hold them off. I'm not sure that I know the difference between that and fighting.
Yeah,
but I'm gonna go with it. Patience. Again, this is Obi-Wan demonstrating his patience.
just close the doors.
Yeah,
Strong doors.
Defend the position together so they can escape. Again, defending seems like a way of fighting. It's a defensive tactic. But that's the plan. So we're going to defend so that we can escape. I'm getting some real Two Towers vibes out of this episode.
Yeah. What a testament to the effectiveness of Two Towers, as like that is still, because this scene is in a million movies and a million books, but I'm always like, this is Helm's Deep. So like it's always Helm's Deep. It's not Sparta, it's Helm's Deep.
No, it's because Helm's Deep is one of the greatest things that's ever been committed to film.
Yes.
And at some point, we'll have to talk some Lord of the Rings in the cargo bay.
Yeah.
Consequences be darned.
Yeah. The cargo dock.
Yes. So we're getting our Helm's Deep vibes as we're preparing for the siege. We've got a little siege montage. We're prepping the door, not unlike Helm's Deep or any other siege movie. But for me, it's Helm's Deep.
Yep.
We get a beautiful shot of, and again, rest in peace, Ned B helping out, doing some lifting. Doing what he does best. Lifting things.
Lifting some
silently.
loads.
Silently
some loads.
lifting things. Looking great. Doing great. Ned B. If we only had more time. Then the stormtrooper ground forces arrive with Reba, and they prepare for the assault on the door. And what I have to say, I'm just going to...
I know what you're going to say already. I know.
That this is the biggest dookie doo-doo volume set that's ever been committed to film.
This is the worst I've seen the volume look. And for the episode in general, and this is a good thing in a lot of ways, maybe my low point is just like, you see the volume. You see where it starts. You see the ground angle up differently. You can almost tell like that everything's round,
Yes.
It's just, it's like they were like, hey, we can put a lot of extras in here and prove that the volume is, we've got a big volume. And it's like, yeah, but you can't shoot it like that.
It's a voluminous volume. Look how big it is.
It looks like we're shooting inside of a balloon.
It was, and you're right. I think the fact that this is probably the sticking point for the episode speaks well of this episode in general. But it's I'm growing weary of a flat ground that I know
that
is the
is
volume.
the exact same texture of dirt on every planet. It really stands out to me, just the fake ground.
As a theatrical person, someone who works with designers, speaking to them about sets and that kind of stuff, I'm a big fan of levels.
Yeah.
Anytime you can break up the ground as just being flat,
yeah,
that's A+ sort of stuff visually. It seems like Mandalorian does a much better job of building some of those set pieces into the volume. And by set, like natural ground or like piles of dirt or anything that just breaks it up from being
platforms.
So it doesn't feel like we're in like a high school gymnasium that's just got the floor painted. You know what I mean? And so this was my sticking point for this episode. I was just like, ugh, that looks like poop.
Yeah.
Because it's all just shades of brown. I'm like, this is a not great job. So apologies if you love this, but like to me, it's having those wide shots. This is the difference between Star Wars TV and film, and I would go specifically to. Do you remember in Rogue One? I think we talked about this when we did the Rogue One episode when we talked about that. The scene when they're doing it's like the droid liberation scene. There's a wide shot of
is that Solo?
Area.
Solo, you mean?
Sorry, Solo. They're doing the droid liberation, and the Falcon's there, and it's like there's levels and machines and just stuff that populates a large area that makes it feel real. This feels like we're in California in the studio, and we just did a brown wash over everything. But we put 100 stormtroopers in there, so it's all good.
Yeah. I'm totally with you. Like, it was really obvious on the big TV. I was hoping that it would be less so if I watched it on the computer, but it's not a great looking set there. But, whatever. I tried to get over it. They use that shot a lot, and just the fact that they don't have coverage like through the stormtroopers, like through different like there's a lot to play with there, and we keep on going back to that real flat shot.
But you really do feel the curvature too of the thing, which is really feels very off to me. It's like I know that they're in a cylinder, right? Like I can feel the sort of the architecture of the space that they're in,
and I know they make adjustments for the camera to not do that, right? Like they they can warp the scenery and stuff. It's just like they pulled the shot back too far and they couldn't see it on the monitor, and they were like, let's go for it.
Keep the footage. Probably the biggest gripe that I do have about this episode. It just the first time I watched it was like, and then the second time I was like, super, not great. So that did not do well for me.
Yeah, looked like a fan film a little bit.
A little bit, but we press onwards. We'll get over it. Didn't ruin the episode for me. I keep going. The hangar roof is not going to open because of evil Lola. She's saboteured. We get a little Roken and Haja comedic relief that I would have just thrown that right out of the episode. Don't need it. And we get Leia requesting a ladder so she can open that door because they need someone small, and she's little. And
what happened to that droid you have, Leia? Couldn't we send the droid up there?
Don't know what happened to it. Could be anywhere. Could be an evil Imperial saboteur at this point. We don't know. But Obi-Wan says, get this kid a ladder. If she wants a ladder, she can have a ladder. And go stick her in a vent for half of this episode. Because that's where we're going to put her. And so off she goes up into the ladder. He tells Haja to keep an eye on Leia. And then he gets a call on his Star Wars cell phone. It is Bail Organa telling Obi that his silence worries him. Yeah, your daughter's lost, and you haven't heard anything from the guy who's sent to protect her. I would be worried too, Bail. He does say, if I don't hear from you soon, I'll head to Tatooine. Owen will need help with the boy.
And spoiler for later, but maybe should have coded that a little bit better, Bail. Maybe should have used some code words here or there.
I'm going to head to Tatooine to protect Darth Vader's son, Luke Skywalker.
At the address. blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, but at the Skywalker farm. Yeah, so We get that. Tala enters after Obi-Wan has taken his bail call, and we get a little backstory download from her. She was part of a group that was with the Inquisitors when they killed 14 people, including 6 children. Classic Inquisitor behavior. And she tells Obi-Wan, and this is actually a really good line that I noticed on the rewatch. There are some things you can't forget, but you can fight to make them better. Which I think, I mean, sometimes the dialogue just washes over because we're in Star Wars.
Yeah.
It turns out sometimes it is important. I think this is going to be a good lesson, something that will stick with Obi-Wan as he's going to go into the rest of this episode and the final episode. There's some things you can't forget. Obviously, we're speaking specifically of the trauma that he has and has been dealing with for the past 10 years or so, and has been facing and overcoming, and the idea that you can fight to make things better. We're going to hopefully start to see that healing that happens with Obi-Wan that we've been so looking forward to, specifically through fighting and defending like a Jedi, doing Jedi stuff. So good moment from her. Enjoy it while you can, because we're about to lose her. I thought she was particularly great in this episode in the series, so I have enjoyed the performance very much.
Yeah, We'll talk more when we get there.
Yeah. Obi-Wan then requests to speak to the Inquisitor. Again, all about buying some time, all about a little bit of patience.
There's a little bit of this, like that last scene where, again, I'm always kind of like, don't we need to hurry, everybody? What's happening? Obi-Wan's just like taking a call and pouting for a second. but yeah, anyway.
Here's the thing that I love about Obi-Wan. He's a patient guy. You know, he's not in a rush. I feel this. You know, I'm a patient guy. I'm not in a rush. It'll happen when it happens. So he's just gonna go have a chat with the new Grand Inquisitor, aka Reva, and so we're gonna get. He's gonna do kind of like a force touch on the wall. It almost feels like to really connect with her, have a good conversation.
They've been shooting at the door with a laser cannon for a while now.
Yeah,
just as background.
It's not the greatest, and again,
you might think they have a tool for breaching a door, like a lightsaber, or just like.
Adam, stop being reasonable.
Right.
This is Star Wars.
Right. And they are trying to draw Obi-Wan out specifically, I should remember.
Yes. You're right. I still don't think that's very clear.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I know they say lines that refer to that. It's still not clear.
Yeah.
But we move on.
Yep.
We can't set our expectations too high, Adam, or this all falls apart.
It's true. Yeah.
So we're gonna have our moment between Reva and Obi-Wan. She refers to Vader, and Obi-Wan's like, no, hold on. You mean Anakin? Because he's like, you know who he is.
Yeah.
Which is this is a well kept secret, and the fact that she knows it. He refers specifically, on Dayu, you said Anakin, so you know that. How do you know that? And then he sort of pieces together Reva's history. We're going to get into what I've put in my notes as the ouchie rough stuff regarding some of the content in this. He pieces together, you were a youngling. We get flashback to the Order 66 massacre. And then she says specifically regarding Anakin, we thought he was there to help us. Which is like a great brutal line that you know, from the perspective of children, if you are seeing everyone you know and love murdered, if Anakin Skywalker walks in the room, you're probably like, thank God, someone who can do something. And then it's like, oh no, he's just chopping children up and slaughtering them. Pretty rough. Yeah. The roughest part, and this ties specifically to some of the horror and trauma that exists in the real world today. Yeah. When she says, I played dead, I hid with the bodies and felt them go cold. Yeah. That is. I'm surprised they didn't cut that line. I really thought that was something that could have been cut. Yeah. Because a little unnecessarily rough given the current circumstances and the tone of the show so far. Yeah. I get that this was made before then, but this is something that still has unfortunately, in our country, not to get too much sidetracked with some of these real world things, but this is something that our country, specifically our country, has been dealing with,
Yeah.
is the dead body of children in schools, and the fact that some of them have to pretend to be dead so they can stay alive. Like, I didn't need this. It reminds me of the worst parts of what is happening in our world is, and
Yeah.
it is the worst kind of tragedy that I can imagine. Are these stupid school shootings that occur where children are just massacred. So it's like, I really understood at the beginning, like, hey, we're putting a content warning up top. I assumed Order 66 something.
Yeah.
It went a little bit deeper, and maybe even deeper than I would have liked for it to go.
Yeah, it pulled me out a little bit for sure.
Oh,
If this would have been
yeah.
released, 2 months ago, I think it would have been okay, just because I'm not super wrapped up in these things. But yeah, given
It's
recent
so
events and how on the nose
so
it
recent.
is, yeah, it's
Yeah.
just it is like, ow, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's played well, and I think it motivates the character better when you get to that level of trauma. But
it's nothing against the performance is fantastic. It's written in a very profound and impactful way, but just the fact that it does pull me so much into recent news events, I was like, man, that's such a bummer to think about.
yeah,
And I get that it adds to the emotional stakes, it adds to the character in this moment. I just don't know that it needed to be so specific about it.
yeah,
Like, you can just show us what happened. Like, you
yeah.
can show us the Order 66 stuff, but that line specifically was like, whoa,
Yeah.
was a little tough and did pull me out of it a little bit. But again, nothing to besmirch the performance, which was fantastic, and the writing at the time still great.
There is a part of me that appreciates that this wasn't censored out. It's surprising in any case. It was genuinely surprising. It's like,
I guess at least they
expect to be upset. Yeah.
At least they put the warning up top. You know what I mean? So that is good, but it still did hit like a ton of bricks both times that I watched the episode, where it's like, poof.
Yeah.
I just don't want to. I mean, no one wants to think about that kind of tragedy. It is unfortunately reality.
And
I just don't like when our horrible American nightmare enters into Star Wars.
Yeah, it'd be a different thing if it were a more thoughtful and artful show, but it's not. It's a silly Star Wars.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know, but it's there. It's interesting. It's
it's a moment. I mean, I don't hate it. It just it definitely like smacked me firmly into the news today, which is like a big downer considering how
and if you're
tragic
watching this
the events are
with your kids,
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know what you'd do. I don't have children. I don't know. I don't know how you proceed with this.
And I'd have to go back and look at the specific language of the warning, but I think maybe it could have even had
a little more specific.
More specific.
I think it was some viewers may find upsetting type thing. Like, some scenes have specific scenes that some viewers may find upsetting.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe just a little bit more. Again, I'd have to go specific language of it, but either way, it's there. It happened. I don't know how much more we can particularly shed light on the current situation, but
let's move to the big reveal.
Yeah, let's move to the big reveal. So it's what is motivating Reva? Well, she wants some revenge. Is what it seems like for what happened during Order 66, and who she thought was going to be the savior turned out to be the great dealer of death to everyone she knew and loved. And she doesn't trust that Obi-Wan is going to help. She asks, "Do you really want Anakin dead?" And he's like, "Fool, I chopped off his arm and his legs and left him to burn and die." And he doesn't say that.
No, he hesitates, as a matter of fact. He very pointedly is like...
very much is like, good question. The thing is Anakin still in there? Oh, we'll find out by Return of the Jedi that, sure, I guess so. But right now, he's still a pretty evil dude. She asks him, and this is a great pointed question. Where were you? This idea of I was a child, and I thought that you were going to be there to protect me. You were his master. Why weren't you there to stop this? She says, I don't need your help. I don't need anyone. So she's all about going alone, and then she's going to do what probably could have been done a lot earlier, which is just take her lightsaber and cut through the door.
Yep.
And Obi-Wan gives her a forced push. We're going to fall back to the second position. Classic Helm's Deep move for the siege. As the stormtroopers spill in like a slow rolling molasses. Just sauntering in, attacking. I was like, there's 1,000 of these dudes. Just run in there.
Into the breach.
Not their style. They just kind of walk in. This first part of this fight is very disorienting for me. Like the filming of it, I'm like, I don't know what's going on. It's chaotic.
Obi-Wan's jumping around, doing some baseball hits.
Yeah, doing his defensive lightsaber maneuvers, buying time, falling back to the second position. Our pathlings. I forgot what they were called for a second. Our pathlings are going to retreat. And then, hey, Leia's still in this episode. She's continuing to work on the breaker. And as we're falling back, Tala got shot by a laser.
Yeah, we get a very dramatic Ned B slowly falling and Tala scene. I forget because I was expecting her to shoot the door panel to close it so Obi-Wan couldn't get back in. Does she do that? Or did I just want her to do that?
They very specifically cut to the door panel. I don't know if she does. I think what happens is
she pulls out the thermal detonator.
Yeah, Ned B kind of shields her. And then she pulls out the thermal detonator and just kind of blows everything up. Again, rest in peace, Ned B. What a great droid. Rest in peace, Tala. We barely knew ye. Hopefully we do
see you in Andor.
Fingers crossed we get to see some more of you in Andor. But yeah,
although is Andor after this?
I
guess it would be.
Good question.
I mean, it'd have to be, or else Andor is way old to be playing himself. Because
I think you're right.
Okay.
I think Andor is going to be after because Rogue One is right before.
Yeah. All right,
right
scratch
before,
that.
So rest in peace. We'll never see you again
forever.
Maybe she'll come in as a flashback. Who knows? We'll see. I thought she was great. Great performer. Wonderful job. Would have loved to see more Tala stories, but she sacrificed herself to.
And I do think it's effective to bring Obi-Wan back down again to be like, yep, you're still gonna deal with losing the people you like.
Yeah, major bummer for him. And it to one of the things I enjoy most about Star Wars is the fact that there is a toll, there's a sacrifice to be made in these Star Wars that we're having. It's a bummer to lose a great performer and character, but it's part of the cost of doing business in these Star Wars.
Yeah, man, the stormtroopers need to get some thermal detonators someday. Really, really effective.
Not in the budget for the Empire at this point. They don't even have to aim; they just got to toss them. You know, so it would really be effective for them. But so we've got the death of Ned B and Tala. We barely knew them, and then we get Vader, who's going to relay an order to Reva to stand down. Kenobi is already ours. Cut back to the Episode 2 fight, where we see Anakin feeling like he's got the upper hand in that fight.
Doing the Luke, the classic angry Luke smash.
Which, to be fair, would be precisely my lightsaber technique. Is I'm just going to bash you with this. Yes. So again, the parallel between the two main thrusts of the story between the flashback and the present, a nice parallel there. And then Obi-Wan is going to tell the group that, hey, I'm going back out there. I'm going to surrender. Vader wants me. I have to stop him. And they're like, my guy, we kind of need you around here. And he's like, he knows I'll do everything I can to protect these people. He's then going to empty the contents of his pockets and hand it over to Haja, including his lightsaber, his cell phone, his keys, and his wallet. And they say, "You're going to fight Vader without a weapon?" And to which he replies, "There are other ways to fight." Indeed, there are, Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan is taken into custody, does a little perp walk. He tries to recruit Reva to fight alongside him.
Hey, we called it here in the cargo bay.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Their causes have aligned.
Yeah, she's gonna do her big good guy turn here. And he's got a great line. He says, "You're not bringing him to me. I'm bringing him to you. We could end this together." Classic Jedi stuff right there.
Yeah, this is more interesting and better executed than a lot of the stuff in the show that tries to be like this, I think, where I was like, okay, yeah, this is a good turn. I like it. It makes sense.
Yeah, and I will get to a moment later that I want to unpack that I think will tie directly back to this. But she responds to him, and she's interested, she's intrigued. What makes you think he won't see it coming? And he says, because all he will see is me. Flashback to Obi-Wan losing his weapon. It's over. Anakin says, your need for victory, Anakin, it blinds you. Oh, interesting. But maybe it has something to do with where Vader is right now. Vader arrives. I will bring him in myself. Obi-Wan has made his escape through the tunnels as he's working his way back to the Pathlings.
And so she lets him go?
Yes, that's the assumption. Because I went back and was like, what happened here?
It's just odd that she would do that in front of the Stormtrooper squad. You know, like, it's weird that they have the conversation in front of the Stormtrooper squad, and then it would be weird to be like, okay, bye-bye, man, who is definitely the object of Vader's desire.
Listen, let's not ask too many questions about how reasonable this is. Yeah, so because I went on the rewatch, I was like, what happened? I was literally like, why? Because I guess we're to assume one of two things. Either she's like, I'm going to send him back inside, guys, and keep him behind the door. No one do anything. Or she walked in there with him, closed the doors, and then came back out because Vader arrives and he's like, I'll bring him in myself. We see him running through the tunnels, and Reva's like, yeah, he's in there. Go get him. Before that, Leia pops up. I almost forgot she was in this episode at this point. She is. She's up there still switching things. And Lola attacks, and Leia removes the restrainer bolt the like god tier restrainer bolt that turns Lola into the greatest.
A magnet, lightly applied. Yeah.
Which, I mean, Lola was like, could have been one of the great bounty hunters of time if she had just kept that restrainer bolt on there. But we've got that little plucked off, so that story is still happening, even if I was forgetting that it did. Vader is going to continue his pursuit. Leia gets the thing back in the thing, and then the thing works again. So the doors are open, which was her entire story in this episode, was to get the thing back in the thing, so the thing would do the thing.
Give her something to do so that the kids are happy. She's doing something, and leave her in the shaft.
Yes, we get a quick shot as our Pathlings are escaping of Haja dropping Obi-Wan's cell phone, which I definitely missed the first time. It's a very quick shot of him dropping Obi-Wan's cell phone. Wonder if that Chekhov cell phone's going to come in to play. Spoiler, it does. As the transport is about to leave, Vader, boom, does a classic force grab of that transport out of the sky, pulls it back to the ground, rips it apart. Decoy ship, everybody. Decoy ship.
It's a little bit too comedic the way this is timed out, and I would have appreciated even an ADR line when Obi-Wan's walking away of like, not that ship, the other, or something. You know, like this mostly made me laugh, which is a shame because I thought the shot of Vader pulling the ship down was pretty cool. I thought it was neat.
A+.
I thought it looked good. Shot. It didn't look as bad as a lot of the volume stuff has. I was like, neato. And then that other ship takes off, and I'm like, all right, why didn't you just leave a second. Instead of walking further to the other ship, why aren't you out of here by now?
Yes, this brought back some PTSD I had from Rise of Skywalker with this exact moment of the death of Chewbacca,
Yeah.
quote unquote death of Chewbacca, with Rey pulling a ship out of the sky, and then they're literally being a second transport.
At least this fits the theme of the episode, you know. At least this like.
You're absolutely right. This makes
like
sense in the context of what's happening.
Yeah, at least this is
Whereas the other one was
like, being sly.
Yeah, it wasn't just like emotional manipulation to make everyone think Chewbacca was dead for 3 minutes.
I guess they changed ships. Okay.
Whoopsies. Yeah, so that happens. The decoy ship, and then we're going to flash back to the fight once again, where Obi-Wan, without a weapon, takes Anakin's saber, and he's going to dispense some master lessons here to Vader, as he is in this moment in the episode as well. He says, "You're a great warrior, Anakin, but your need to prove yourself will be your undoing. Until you overcome it, a Padawan you will still be."
And
a little Yoda, Yoda wisdom, little Yoda nugget there, right?
And he pats Anakin on the manly the manly shoulder,
on his 40-year-old shoulder.
Yeah, and that's the end of our sequence, and it's great. It's all been good. It's been well played. Anakin gets a few lines in there that feel like Anakin, but also aren't like, you know, cringy. That like he does feel like Clone Wars era Anakin, because they're giving him like something aggressive and angry to do, but he's smiling the whole time. You know, he's having a good time with his master.
Honestly, a highlight of the episode for me.
Yeah.
Especially the little wink and the nod to Yoda, because it does feel very purposeful that like, oh, this is a lesson that has been passed down, because Obi-Wan probably had the exact same thing happen to him.
Yeah.
Like that there are certain things you're going to have to overcome before you can move on. For Anakin, it was this, you know, your need to prove yourself. Who knows if it was the same thing for Obi-Wan, but very cool that he is able to give a little Yoda nugget and a kind of almost like a wink at the after he gives that line. But it's a smile that's like, Yoda.
Yeah.
Which is fun. And then from there, into that sequence, lovely, fantastic. As much fan service and story driven and purposeful as I would want something like that to be. So A+, I think, on the way that they brought in that flashback as the framework for this episode. We are going to have so we're going to cut to Vader, and we see Reva kind of approaching over the shoulder. She's got her hand on her lightsaber. She's ready to, and Vader just washes her, just force blocking lightsabers, beating the crap out of her.
This is very silly but fun. Like, what epitomizes it for me is where he does the hand twist with the lightsaber, and they play like a dubstep like bass line under it as he does it, and then it's back to like it's kind of silly, but it's also very cool.
I mean I miss that particular beat. I love anytime I get to see Vader doing like cool Vader Force stuff. I'm like, yeah. And he says, to Reva, "He was wise to use you against me."
Yeah.
When this is what to go back a little bit to that moment before of when they go into cahoots. Obi-Wan's just kind of leaving her to get her ass kicked, right?
Yeah. Like, he's like,
is this a dick move by Obi-Wan to be like, "No, you got this. You'll be fine." She gets crushed. She gets absolutely washed by Vader.
I think it's a smart move. I like that Obi-Wan's like, nah, we're out of here. I got to worry about, you know, I got kids to worry about, man. Like, sorry, Grand Inquisitor. Like, you made your bed.
Great move. I guess my question is it too ruthless?
No.
Okay.
No, because she's clearly sacrificed her morality in every way possible in order to get revenge.
I guess.
And he's got a job to do on Tatooine. Yeah.
Indeed, he does. You're right. The mission is most important, but it was
yeah.
Just on the second rewatch, I was like, oh man, he was just like here's the bait. Have fun, Vader. You know what I mean? Like,
well, they didn't know they were going to get the doors open, right? They thought the doors were going to be sealed forever. So maybe plans would have changed. But nah, he gets on out of there.
He's like, peace.
She doesn't do a great job of sneaking up behind Vader. Not well timed. I don't know why anyone does the ignite the lightsaber and then swing instead of the just stick it up to you and ignite and go on.
I'm just gonna walk behind you and ignite it directly into your back, and then you're dead.
Yeah,
a great move, which was utilized very well by Kylo Ren on a
Reva. Earlier in this TV series.
Just do that. That's a great move. But no, she gets her ass kicked by Darth Vader. We're gonna go to
he pulls out the twin lightsabers.
Oh yeah, breaks them apart.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, fun fight. And spoiler, she's about to get gut stabbed, which is classic. But the way that they revealed that, I thought was pretty effective.
Yeah.
Of flashing back to Order 66, Hayden, Darth Vader pre being chopped up, and then he stabs her, which is like some crazy trauma, wonderful little moment as she's stabbed. And he says, "Did you really believe I did not see it, youngling? You are of no further use." And then we're going to have someone enter who knows a thing or two about being gut stabbed. The OG Grand Inquisitor is back. He's back, as we all knew he would be.
Yeah.
At some point.
And as definitely no one online got really, really angry. Definitely no, this episode, it does a lot of what I've been waiting for, which is gives people the opportunity to be like, yeah, you see, you dumb idiots, stories evolve. You watched 2 episodes of a thing and you were like, why isn't this explained? Because we're 20% of the way into the thing.
Story's not over, Bing Bong. That's why. Yeah. I tend to try to stay away from Twitter the day that the Obi-Wan episode's released, just because it's just a wasteland of garbage takes. By and large.
either this is the worst thing I've ever seen, or this is the best thing I've ever seen. Both of which I think are bad takes. I don't think either one of those are a good take.
No. So we've got the OG Grand Inquisitor back, as we knew he would be, because canonically, he's still alive in Rebels. So he's back. He tells Reva, "Your rage was useful. Now it is tiresome. We will leave you where we found you, in the gutter, where you, instead of just killing you."
No, I like this.
We could do.
I like this because this is Vader being like, you could be an apprentice later. This is how the Sith work,
Oh.
You don't necessarily they are leaving there specifically, he's like, oh yeah, revenge is a great motivator to stay alive, right? Good luck finding your way back. See if you'll be useful to us again. We're not scared of you, that's for sure.
I see, and I didn't read it that way, but I like that take on it. I was just, for me, it was on the second rewatch. This is where my notes come from. I was like, oh, this is a dumb move because she's about to head to Tatooine and protect Luke Skywalker because she's pretty pissed that she got gut stabbed and Vader saw right through you. Yeah. If I was them, I'd just be like, just stick a fork in her. She'll be done. But I like that revenge take. I think that's good too.
I think, and this is one thing I do know about the canon, is throughout this period, Vader is looking for and trying to create who knows how many an apprentice to help him overthrow Palpatine. And so
classic Sith behavior.
Yeah. He's doing his Sith thing.
You gotta love it. Yeah. So they leave her there in the gutter. We'll leave you in the gutter where you came from.
I like Vader letting him do the talking.
They're like, we don't want to spend the money on the voice reanimator right now, so let's just give the lines to the Grand. So the transport ship has made its escape because Obi-Wan's patience and plan of not fighting with a weapon worked out for them. Or did it? The hyperdrive is down, Adam. The hyperdrive is down. And Vader's in pursuit.
This is save it for next episode because it gets I get more confused here because they throw in that Obi-Wan becomes aware through the Force that the secret is out. Like he feels that the Reva has sensed or knows where Luke is. He knows that the thing got lost, and it's just confusing to mix that moment with the hyperdrive is down.
I agree. Yeah, so you to piggyback off that, Reva finds Obi-Wan's cell phone, which was dropped by Haja in a very quick glancing shot.
I'm glad to know
in the
that
middle of a
Haja
chaotic
dropped
cut.
it because I didn't remember that. I didn't see that, and I was like, Obi-Wan.
I barely caught it, and the first time I missed that Obi-Wan gave him his lightsaber and his keys and his wallet and his cell phone.
That I missed the cell phone part. I did see the lightsaber because I was like, Kumail, if you get to use Obi-Wan's lightsaber,
I'm gonna be so mad.
I'm gonna be so mad.
Again, Kumail, if you ever want to come on the cargo bay, no, we'd be happy to have you.
Yeah, come here so we can tell you how angry and jealous we are.
You'll love it.
But hey, at least what happens is his arc is that he fails. His arc is that he really messes up here, or maybe not. Yeah. Maybe it winds up saving the day.
I think I'm edging towards saving the day because Reva finds the cell phone with Bail Organa's just message of like, Owen, save Darth Vader's son Luke Skywalker on your farm in Tatooine. That again was not too much reason in these spaces, please. We're moving plot forward. I think it's setting everything up for the final showdown on Tatooine that's going to be coming, and it seems like to me Reva's going to do her good guy turn in part 6 in some effort to help protect the boy. Now that
we get a long shot
thoroughly like crapped on by the Inquisitors and Vader. It's like, I don't want to work with these guys anymore. And then we get that long shot on little sleepy baby Luke.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. I don't know. It's just weird to bring it back to Tatooine here for this last episode or whatever we're doing. It's weird to involve Luke, I guess, is at this point.
It will be interesting to see how they handle it.
Yeah.
But it feels like we're going into big final battle. I like that we're going back to Tatooine. I think I asked the question whenever we did the parts 1 and 2. Are we going to come back here after we went on our skipping adventures of the week? So I personally kind of like that we're going back to Tatooine for the end of it. I don't know how they're going to do it, which I think is fun because I'll get to go in and see how are we going to handle this fight on Tatooine. I'll be the first to admit it, very wrong. No Qui-Gon in this episode. I thought we would get him in penultimate. It would make sense if they're going to bring him back that it would be on Tatooine, but we may not get Qui-Gon at all, which would make me very sad because it seemed like they were dropping some breadcrumbs that we're going to get it.
Maybe it's Obi-Wan season 2 maybe it's Obi-Wan season 2 that they're going to get Qui-Gon. I mean, because they say the whole press tour, they were like, this is a contained story. We're not planning on doing more. I think they probably had to know when they wrapped, and Ian McGregor was like, this was fun. Can we do more? Like, yes, we can.
You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, you executive produce this thing. You like, we didn't.
They're like, I don't know. Do you want to do more? Yeah, you can. Yeah, I don't know. I'm at this point. I'm kind of like, I don't know if I want it at this point because I would have rather had it. Yeah, I would have rather had it in this episode. But again, that's my expectations. I'll leave it be. If it happens in the next one, I'll be thrilled. So either way, overall, I really like this episode.
Yeah.
Even though I know we're picking some nits, I know we've turned off some of the parts of our brain that would be hypercritical of some of this stuff.
Yeah, I've
allowed myself to enjoy this much more than if I was like, I want to crap on everything that I don't agree with. I just don't want to be that fan. No. And if you want to be that kind of person who listens to podcasts like that, so be it. That's generally not our vibe here. Like, there are things we disagree with, but we're not going to be like, I hate this about Star Wars. I'm going to keep watching.
Yeah.
It's like, I disagree with some things. I wouldn't have made these choices, but I still love lightsabers and seeing Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like, that's just how I am.
Yeah, if you're sacred about the Star Wars canon to the point that you're upset by new Star Wars stuff, this might not be the place, the podcast for you. And also, if you're continually shocked and bewildered that Star Wars isn't like the ultimate story in storytelling, and like this also might not be the podcast for you. Like I'm pretty blown away by people being like, this isn't high art. It's like, yeah, man, it's an Obi-Wan television show.
Because I've seen a lot of that sort of discourse on Twitter where it's like, you realize what A New Hope was, right? Like, there's a moment where Han Solo charges 30 stormtroopers just screaming.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we kind of accept that there's some things that are ridiculous and fun about this. And I think, because you brought it up, but maybe the last time we talked or before that about like comparing this to like prestige TV. I think to a degree we've become accustomed to the prestige TV era where it's like TV is going to be dark and gritty and we can tell really in-depth stories that are like cinema from the 70s. Like that's where stories are being told. This is still Star Wars. We've grown accustomed to a certain type of television like Breaking Bad or Mad Men or, Sopranos, anything that can dive deep into, themes of darkness and evil and what that really is. This is still Star Wars. This is still a children's story. Trying to force our expectations of, I want prestige TV from Disney Plus onto Star Wars. I think we're only going to let ourselves down if we keep hoping for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And maybe we'll be pleasantly surprised when we get Andor. Maybe we'll be pleasantly surprised when we get Acolyte. But for stuff that's going to be as mainstream as Obi-Wan Kenobi is, I think it was probably not wise to go in being like, we're going to get the grittiest, darkest Obi-Wan Kenobi story that was ever told.
Yeah, or even the most expertly told, like even like... Yeah, I'm a prequel fan, and so I am very used to, with Star Wars, being able to separate specific scenes that I like from like the overall like picture of the thing. And so far the series is giving me a lot of what I love. I don't love the music in this episode, for instance, but you know what? When we get the flash or the wrap up from last week where it's just shots from last week, I'm like, man, this is cool. Like there's a lot of cool footage in here. And I'm sure I'll get to see it, in a million different ways over the rest of my lifetime. So like I'm here for it.
Yeah, I agree. And to your point on the music, there was a couple scoring moments where I was like, I think specifically the one that I most noticed was when Vader approached and made his sort of like landing in the volume. It was like, it would be super cool if they just played some Imperial March. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it was very loud and boisterous. I was like, I don't know what's going on
also,
here.
They cut, like, I get that it's on purpose, but there's like one theme playing when the stormtroopers are out, and then they immediately cut to the Inquisitor theme when the Inquisitor ship comes down. Like they're like, and it's all like there's nothing wrong with it. It's just not for me. My point is, I would like to see some of these shots with some different music underneath. I want to I do want to just see the lightsaber fight cut together out of this episode. There's a lot of content here I'm going to enjoy more than there's content that I'm going to be like, why did Lola get in there? Like,
what's the deal with Lola? I'm going to spend some time on the internet complaining about a droid today. Yeah, not for me. We like Star Wars. We liking Star Wars too, I think.
Yeah.
Which is kind of feels uncommon at some points now, but like it's like what are these idiots doing being positive about Star Wars? I don't know. I just like liking
I'm having a good time.
It's kind of, not to go too far into it, it's kind of why I love Star Wars, is that it's something that I can just enjoy and we can talk about and have fun with and nitpick, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to let it ruin my day. Like some people on the internet who are just going to just complain and cry like babies. It's like, I'm not going to take time out of my day to be like, no, I need to do a 30 post threaded tweet about why this doesn't make sense. Like, get over it, Like, go do something else today.
If there's
go walk in the fresh air.
Or go rewatch one that you like or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
There's 80 million pieces of Star Wars content at this point.
yes.
Move along.
Any number of which are fantastic, including I finished while I was on Scarif. I finished The Light of the Jedi.
Nice.
The High Republic book. Very good.
Yeah, I finished it as well. I wish I was reading them instead of listening to them. The person doing the reading does a great job, but it's really theatrical and really exaggerated accents.
Gotcha.
And I need to read these things. But yeah, I enjoyed it.
Cool. Yeah, and I picked up book 2 just a couple days ago. I was like, I'm getting into it.
I just
like
started
these.
on book 2 as well. Yeah, in my ear holes.
Nice. So I think at some point we should maybe dig into some of that High Republic stuff. I know the comic books there's like 3 trade backs of High Republic comics that were released that I think are like that they're done. So it's like,
oh, nice.
The 3 trade backs are what exist for the High Republic at this point. So plus a bunch of young adult novels that I'm never going to read, but I think the main kind of adult novelization of what's going on there is some more fun Star Wars content to check out if you're into books. If you want to crap all over Kenobi, maybe check out some books. Maybe go check out a comic book. Maybe go read something. Maybe stay off of the internet for a little bit.
Maybe read something that isn't Star Wars. Maybe if you're expecting perfection out of your media, read a classic.
Yeah, I highly recommend the works of William Shakespeare. Very good. You can find any other number of classics in the classics section of any bookstore.
Yeah, get yourself a Criterion Collection subscription.
There you go. There you go.
But yeah, I don't know. I had a great. This is probably the most fun I had watching an episode of Kenobi so far. I was in a good headspace for it and got a lot of cool things that I enjoyed. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how it all gets wrapped up. I hope we get a longer episode next week. I hope it is like an hour 20.
I think it is going to be a little bit longer. I saw this. They're releasing all 6 parts theatrically in some specific theaters. That's going to have also like a not like a Q&A, but I think maybe like a cast talking session breakdown with it. So it's like a 6-hour event. So I think people have been like trying to figure out. The last 2 episodes were this long. It says the runtime of this. This last episode was, again, relatively short. I think we're right around 40 minutes, maybe a little right around there with the credits and stuff.
Yeah, it was.
So I think the next one might be pushing to the hour, closer to where that episode 1 was.
Yeah.
Which
the last
I'm all
2 have
for.
been like 40 minutes.
Yeah, they've been shorter.
Under 40 minutes.
But I have enjoyed them both.
Yeah.
So the length doesn't necessarily crush anything for me.
Yeah, but
it feels like we are going to
get out of here now. So I want.
Yeah, no, I think we're going to get some more duration in the final episode, which we'll love. I'm sure having as much as we can, because after this, we're going to go into a little bit of a content dry spell.
I'm kind of looking forward to that, VC.
Hey,
just figuring out what we're going to do.
We don't have to do weekly recaps. We can just have discussions about Star Wars. We can just do our story session for one more season.
Yeah, I'm ready to pitch some film ideas.
I think that would be fun. Like I said, Levi, our Sith Lord expert, on to maybe discuss some comic books, some Vader stuff, general love of Star Wars. Again, shout out Levi.
Yeah,
shout out. You're out there.
shout out
Well-Adjusted
podcast.
Yeah, check it out if you're into horror stuff. Well-Adjusted.
And they're always telling me that I need to watch the movies.
I
just listen to the podcast, baby. I've listened to like 10 episodes about movies I've never seen and may never see. But that's because it's a great show.
There you go. Yeah, so good content there. Hopefully we can get him to talk about Star Wars, maybe do kind of a big wrap-up of Kenobi. But yeah, it'll be nice because we won't have anything coming until Andor, I believe.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's like a deluge of Star Wars. Andor, Tales of the Jedi, Bad Batch Season 2. Very stoked about that. But yeah, it's all coming down the pipe. But we'll get a little summer breather. Where we can
get our stuff together.
get our stuff together and really get into some Star Wars hobby stuff too.
Yeah. Well, check us out on Friday for our Hobby Talk episode. BC, I've been thinking, because I've been bad at everything recently, the giveaways we're doing. Here's what I want to do. Last week, if you listen to our last episode, you can figure out how to enter for our refractor, our Obi-Wan Galaxy Chrome refractor. I'm gonna let all of these run until the end of Obi-Wan, and then we'll do the raffles for all of the prizes. So, do we have a prize this week? I believe we do.
Do we?
Let me see. That's right. Here it is. BC. This week, the prize is this PSA 10 living set Yoda. We did get a little bit of Yoda reference in this episode, so I think it's fitting. So yeah, we'll post this on socials. And the way you win this card is by, I don't know what we're gonna make this one about. I think this one's gonna be about reviews on iTunes and Spotify. If you email us a screenshot of your review, and the email has to come, by the way, within a few minutes of you posting that review, so we know it was you, right? And not just someone stealing your review. You will be entered in this raffle, and this is going to run until we put out our post-mortem Obi-Wan episode. So yeah, and post details on the socials for that.
So a couple things. So we've got that huge card, amazing giveaway. Another one that clearly no one's listening to, because probably one of the hottest cards that you are the one who purchased it and are giving it away. The Obi-Wan parallel from Galaxy Chrome, the Offbeat Buddies.
Yes, number 2 of 99.
If you would send us an email this week letting us know what the code was for that, you'd have been entered to win, but ain't no one sending us emails. Everybody, we are the Cargo Bay Pod at protonmail.com. Listen to the episode. Send us some emails. We want to give you some stuff.
Yeah, that's right. And I'll do better on the socials this week.
Yeah, I will too. We'll coordinate. I was on Scarif last week.
You were on Scarif. I was, being a scumbag.
I was relatively checked out of social media because enjoying my time on Scarif with my family at the beach.
That's a good call.
The other thing, I don't know where they are now, but I was going to be giving away that triumvirate of Kenobi cards that are numbered to 350 from Galactic Files. Still didn't get an email from the person who gave us the secret code on the YouTube comment, so I'm going to say those are still up for grabs, and we can package up our everything we're giving away, do big social media blasts and all that kind of stuff. So stay tuned to that. We are the Cargo Bay Pod, pretty much everywhere you can find us on those social media things. So stay tuned to that because we want to give you some Kenobi and Star Wars stuff.
And we'll be back next week to discuss the finale of Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Ooh, 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 ooh. Did you like my little dance?
I did. I loved it. Check out our YouTube if you want to see that dance. PBDO, you gleeful little scumbucket. Get us on out of the cargo bay, would you? Thanks, PBDO.
He's still mocking us about the death of Ned B. It's unbelievable.
R.I.P. Ned B. And bye forever to all y'all out there. See you next week.
May the Force be with y'all.
Bye.